Debatę. Kolejnym punktem porządku dziennego.
The next item on the agenda are the statements of the Council and the Commission, the program of activities of the Hungarian Presidency of the Council. The rotating presidency is changing right now, and Hungary is in presidency for the first time in history. It is always a very important event for the European Union. During Belgian presidency, we developed new forms of cooperating with the Council and the Presidency. We had meetings at the level of administration, committees, ministers, and the meetings at the level of the Presidency and the President of the European Parliament. We shall continue these forms of cooperation also under the Hungarian Presidency. We have already agreed this with Prime Minister Orban. Today we are going to talk about the program of the Hungarian Presidency. Let me welcome Prime Minister Orban at the European Parliament. We are happy to see that we will have an opportunity to discuss in detail a number of issues which are important for the cooperation.
Minister Viktor Orban.
Honourable members, I'm delighted that you have turned out in such numbers.
We understand the demonstration. You show what is necessary to show. Please leave it now. We must continue our debate. Please, colleagues. Thank you. Mr. Prime Minister, if you could start, please.
As I was saying, Honourable President, I'm delighted that at the meetings of the European Parliament we see performances and liveliness, and that means it's no different from the meetings of the Hungarian Parliament. So I feel like I'm at home. So thank you for having invited me along this morning, and I'd like to greet the members of Parliament, President Barroso, and my friend from the region, the President of the European Parliament as well. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all I'd like to make it quite clear that it is a great honour for me to be able to address you this morning in my capacity as President in Office of the European Union. Obviously, this is a routine event for you because every 6 months a Prime Minister comes to visit you and presents you with the programme of the Presidency in office. However, from the perspective of us as Hungarians, this is far more important than just pure routine. This is a historical event that we can be here. As you know, after the Second World War, Hungary sacrificed the greatest amount of blood and the greatest amount of human lives for freedom and democracy. And you know that is true in 1956 and in the course of the reprisals that followed 1956. We were the first ones who were involved in toppling the communist regime. We were the first ones who took up arms against the Soviet Empire, and we proved to the world that communist doctrine is not a harmless ideology, but a very dangerous threat to Western civilization.
Kiütöttük az első téglát.
We were the first ones to knock a break out of the wall of communism, and this was something which led to the downfall of communism. So, ladies and gentlemen, I feel that we can say with full justification that we've done a lot. We've made a big contribution to Europe once again becoming united, and this is why this is a historical occasion today that I can come and address you in my capacity as Prime Minister of Hungary and President in Office of the Council. Let me assure you that we will be following in the footsteps of the 1956 freedom fighters. We will be following their example when it comes to a united Europe. honourable members, we in Central Europe, and that includes us as Hungarians, have always been a part of a united Europe, and we've always been interested in that, and we continue to be interested in that. However, to create a unified Europe and to preserve a unified Europe, you must show strength. 20 years ago, Europe did have enough strength to overcome its divisions and partitioning and become united, and it was a historical moment for Europe to become reunited, an opportunity we had to seize, and this is why we have as our slogan for the Hungarian presidency, Strong Europe. Honourable members, today we are faced with an equally serious challenge to the one we faced 20 years ago. So perhaps it's no exaggeration for us to say that we are confronted perhaps in the European Union with the hardest year of the last 2 decades. Once again, we're seeing storm clouds gathering on the horizon, and we're seeing the world economy being riven by divisions, and we have to stand our ground against that backdrop in Europe. And we know that Europe has to remain united, so we need to show strength to preserve that unity today as well. I am firmly convinced that all member states of the European Union, including my home country as well, will only be strong and successful if the European Union too is strong. If it is strong, then it will be able to come up with a response to the challenges that face us in terms of the economy, the global economy, the environment, demography and security. The only question is where can we gather our strength from? And we will get a response to that if we ask another question at the same time. What is weakening Europe today, in the here and now? What is it that is destroying the competitiveness of an entire civilization? Here, other parts of the world are not threatening us. We're not seeing a threat from a foreign ideology. Instead, we're talking about a very practical problem, which is a genuine problem for us. And in fact, in English, you talk about debt. And it's a very simple word that carries a lot of weight and a lot of connotations. We're being devoured by debt, and we've got a new world and new competition, and the Western world, including Europe, has got a huge set of risks to contend with. The Hungarian presidency is firmly convinced that there's only one way to overcome debt, and that is by work. We Hungarians are more than familiar with this, because the problems that we are confronted with in our economy back home is because we have the lowest employment rate in the whole of the European Union, and I'm embarrassed to say so. Our rate of employment is 55% at the moment. However, if you don't have work, if there are no jobs for people, then there's no money, and then you get indebted and you have to take out loans. So if you look at today's mentality, we have to look ahead towards the future and respect the need for work. We have to espouse that, because it has made our civilization strong. We have a European Code of Conduct which has been one of the cornerstones of what we've been doing, and it is a cornerstone of prudent economic behaviour. We can't live beyond our means. We can't spend more money than we are capable of producing, and we can't burden down our children and grandchildren with debt because of our behaviour. I am convinced that respect for work is a concept which has many facets, and it will only help us to make progress if we have worked for that.